What if we told you that the person closest to you or the one you love and rely on is also quietly poisoning your peace? The person you thought was your well-wisher suddenly starts to show signs that bother you and mentally drain you. Toxic relationships aren't always visible, but they're like carrying an invisible bag full of rocks. With every step, the weight feels heavier and it gets harder to breathe. They slowly start to drain your energy and crush your spirit, and in the long run, they hold you back from the happiness and peace that you deserve. We'll be talking about the baggage that comes from toxic relationships. Whether it's a friend, partner, a colleague, or even family members, toxic relationships limit your growth and leave you drained. This keeps us from experiencing inner peace and feeling joy. In today's video, we'll talk about how to let go of those toxic ties and reclaim your inner peace. The signs are often subtle at the start: a broken promise, a dismissive comment, or the weight of being in constant doubt. But with time, the relationship starts to hurt you and is only suffocating your spirit. Toxic relationships often feel like an endless cycle that you can't escape. But here is the truth that nobody talks about: you can break free from them. Not only can you let go of those people, but you surely deserve to remove them from your lives. Imagine yourself waking up and feeling liberated and lighter. You will finally be at peace with yourself. But letting go of these toxic relationships isn't about just removing the negativity from our lives, but it is about healing. It is about creating an environment for ourselves where we can grow and heal past traumas while getting aligned with peace within us. In the beginning, letting go may seem painful or even daunting. You may start to wonder, how do I even start? Or will I really find peace after removing my closest people? That's okay, because in this video, we'll be breaking down these steps so you can let go of the toxic relationships around you and find inner peace. Starting with the first step is self-realization and recognition. Before even recognizing a toxic relationship, it is important to realize on your own what is draining you, what behavior does not align with you, and how it is hurting you in the long term. Then you need to recognize the toxic relationships for what they are. These relationships don't always scream danger from the beginning. They are often disguised in a sneaky way and sugarcoated in the name of love or friendship. You must have heard things like, "If you really loved me, you would do this for me," or something like, "You're too sensitive. Why are you always overreacting?" These kinds of manipulative sentences are often guilt-trapping and emotionally drain you with each interaction. They can be labeled as red flags. These phrases make you feel helpless, and although in the beginning, you may feel as if you've done something good for the relationship, but later on you'll think as if you neglected yourself, which can make you feel empty and unhappy. Let's take the story of Jane and Sarah, or two best friends. They've known each other for many years, but with time, Sarah started constantly criticizing Jane. This made Jane lose her self-esteem and feel low about herself because of the negativity. Sarah would leave comments about Jane's accomplishments like, "Must feel nice to be lucky with getting a promotion," or "You're always overthinking. Others have it worse than you. Grow up." Because of this, Jane felt trapped, thinking that if she distanced herself from Sarah, she'd be a bad friend. It wasn't until Jane decided to take a step back and examine the patterns in their friendships. And slowly, she started to realize how toxic her friendship had become. This leads to an important question. How do you know if the relationship is toxic? In short, a toxic relationship will leave you drained and anxious. If someone is constantly disrespecting your boundaries and undermining your self-worth, it's a clear sign for you to let go of them. The next important thing is setting boundaries and sticking to them. Placing boundaries helps you and protects your well-being and keeps you on the right track. Let's be honest, how often have you been guilty of not setting up these boundaries? In a toxic relationship, people often resist and push back against your boundaries, which makes you feel like the problem. But it is important to remember that by keeping boundaries, you are elevating yourself with respect and not being selfish. People often expect you to pick up the slack every time, which only makes you feel overwhelmed and resentful. In the start, you may feel that it is hard to speak up for yourself with the impression that others will judge you for speaking up. But eventually, as you realize that this is only draining and affecting your growth, you can speak up for the unfair treatment. So it is very important to have strict boundaries which people cannot cross. And guess what? The world doesn't end when you set your boundaries, but it only leads you to having more respect in your gathering. You must be thinking how you can set clear and healthy boundaries. This can be done by listing down your core values and then communicating them with the people around you without apologizing. You must learn that it is okay to say no, and the most important thing is to prioritize your needs. Even if you have to walk away, it is okay because you have boundaries which are not respected. Next, we have the tough truth that you can't fix a toxic relationship just by yourself. It always takes two people to make or break a relationship. Many of us fall into the trap that by giving more love and trying harder, we can make things better. But toxic relationships are often deep-seated issues which the other person can't change, and we can't do anything about it. Consider the example of Emma and Jake, who have been together for the past 3 years. In the beginning, things were great, but as time went by, Jake started to show controlling behavior. He would constantly keep Emma in the cycle of explaining herself and doubt her. Emma thought in the beginning that if she really loved him, she could go on and reassure him again and again. But regardless of all efforts, Jake's behavior did not change. And finally, Emma realized that only one person cannot fix a relationship. The only person she could fix was herself. So it is important to focus on yourself and change the things that are in your own hands. Focus on what is in your control, such as your own actions, your boundaries, and healing. Once you have set your boundaries and have decided to let go, the next step is to start practicing self-care and rebuilding your self-worth. Letting go of these toxic relationships often leaves an emotional wound on your heart and mind. They chip away at your confidence and leave you feeling drained and insecure. Now it is time to focus on yourself and start healing while turning your time inwards. A strong way to practice self-love is by practicing compassion. You can start your healing journey by thinking of it as planting small seeds of self-worth. Every act of self-love is like sowing a seed and watering it until it fully blooms into a beautiful flower. You can start your journey by starting to meditate on a daily basis or by simply journaling. By spending time with your love, you can uplift who you are. It is all about focusing on what brings you joy and makes you feel complete. Let's take the example of Lisa. She has been in a toxic friendship for years and has finally decided to let go. At first, she felt very lost and unsure she was doing the right thing. But as time passed by, she started to realize that she was now reconnecting with herself. She started taking yoga classes regularly, which was something that you had always wanted to do. She also started to go for a hike every weekend, which we never got time for because she was only focusing on the people around her. Slowly and gradually, she started to notice that the energy she was wasting on people was now being put to good use. She started to journal about her thoughts and made a track record of her habits. This allowed her to process her pains and regulate her emotions. She also learned that having good friends is like a support system, and you can rely on family members who remind you of your worth. Lisa's journey shows us that self-care is not just about treating yourself to something nice, but it is about rebuilding your habits to prioritize your self-worth. It is also about nurturing your soul and reclaiming the sense of worth that was taken from you during a toxic relationship. Next, we'll talk about the hardest part, which is truly letting go. Letting go doesn't mean that you have to pretend that something didn't hurt you or cut someone out of your life out of anger. It's about letting out all that emotional baggage after the relationship is truly over. It's about freeing yourself from the pain, bitterness, and resentment. You need to forgive yourself after forgiving others. This will help you lighten yourself and regulate your emotions better. Another form of forgiving yourself is by not letting those toxic people back into your life or excusing their bad behaviors. Think of forgiveness as lightening your heavy baggage and letting go of all those grudges. While you are practicing to let go, remind yourself that peace will always come from within you. Don't wait for any kind of closure or change from others. Only you can control your own peace. Lastly, you should start surrounding yourself with positivity. The energy of people around you has a great influence on how you feel afterwards, and grow based on that. Look out for relationships that are supportive and uplift your mood, while aligning with your core values. Finding your suited tribe may take time and always a lengthy process, but it is surely worth it. Always surround yourself with the people who respect your boundaries and celebrate your success. This leads to you being surrounded in a growing and encouraging environment. Letting go of these toxic relationships is definitely not an easy journey, but it is necessary and requires a lot of self-love and courage. The reward of this act is priceless, resulting in inner peace. When you start removing negativity from your life, you make space for nourishing, healing, and new opportunities. Remember that letting is more than just removing people from your life, but it is about reclaiming your self-respect. You deserve your connections and relationships that not only nurture your growth, but also don't hold you back. By recognizing your worth and realizing the toxicity which was already a part of your life, you can easily start to set up boundaries that align with your future goals. This will not only set you free from all the emotional weight, but it will also help you and find peace, which you deserve. The process may not be easy, but with every step, you will move closer to a life which is filled with inner peace and surrounded by positivity. We hope this video was helpful and left an impact and let you navigate through your life. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep taking steps and moving forward. Your best self awaits you.